This is a fairly sheltered spot. There's a big dog there blocking the wind. Well, look at this. We're getting a tiny bit of snow in the air, and we've got one goofy dog who has no sense and no feelings. Oh, I do have one of these with me. I always carry these with me, and that's a good thing. Today I'm going to actually use that because I was just thinking I don't have one, and it would be a good thing to have. But I usually carry little bits of fluff and tinder with me for exactly these types of days, because it's just soaking wet. It's been raining pretty steadily, drizzling and so on for I don't know, 5 days, I guess. Well, I seem to be having some trouble with my camera here. I just went into the brush just over here and I cut this stick, and we're going to make some Bannock today, and I'm going to hopefully get this all on film. I tried switching to another battery, so somehow I got a feeling that's not the problem, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll get us through the day anyway, and we'll be able to get this finished. So this is the Bannock mix, and I mix it up in a large quantity like this. Normally, actually there's probably about 5 cups of flour in there, maybe a bit more. It's simple. It's flour, baking powder, a little sugar, little salt. That's all there is to it. Maybe a teaspoon of salt, a couple of teaspoons of sugar, about 2 or 3, well, for this much there'd probably be about 5 teaspoons of baking soda powder, and that's about all there is to it. Now, a lot of people put a little oil in it, but and I often do too, for that matter. But for traveling like this is the way I would use it on a canoe trip or whatever. So this is the way I'm going to show it to you. So we're going to just skip the oil today. It's always a good idea to carry a little extra, even though you're not planning on using it, because if you get a little careless here and you put too much in it, it's going to be awfully runny, and you really don't want that. You'd end up turning it into pancakes instead of Bannock, because it would be all sticky. So what I'm going to do here is put just a little bit in. I'm going to mix it right here in the bag. You could just as easily mix it in a bowl if you had one there. This just makes an easy job of it, and you don't have much to clean afterwards. That's not enough water, but like I said, better to sort of ease it in a bit here and there until you get it right, because unless you've got an extra amount with you, which I try usually to do, but you know, if it's your last Bannock of the trip and that's all you've got left, you're kind of out of luck if you make a mistake. And you want this quite doughy, thick. A lot of people would sort of roll this into a kind of a rope, you know, maybe make a long piece, 1 inch in diameter or something. And I prefer not really to do that, because anyway, it's starting to get better now. And the reason is, because we're cooking this over a fire, you can cook this in a frying pan, you can cook it any way you want. But because we're cooking it over a fire, we have very limited heat control. And if it's too thick, like as in a roll, you might be tempted to burn the outside and still have the inside not properly cooked. So I flatten it out, kind of like a big fat pancake or a tortilla or something, and I just roll it around the stick. And all that does, the only difference there is that it makes it a little bit thinner, more consistent thickness all the way around, and so you're going to cook it a little more evenly. I like to mix this up maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Oops, I popped the bottom of the bag. We'll just tear this open. This is a great way to do this too, by the way, if you're, especially if you're on an extended trip like a canoe trip or something. It's very easy to pack out this little bit of bag that's left compared to try to do dishes, depending on how much water availability you have. Most of my trips are canoe trips, so water is not really a problem, but just put a little extra powder on here. We'll make this, as I said, into a flat cake. It's so much easier when you can't really control the heat of the fire that way to get There's quite a lot here, more than I would normally make for myself. But as you may have noticed, there's some critters that want to... Let's bring this over closer to the camera so you can see what we're doing here. Where are we? There we go. I'm just going to make this into a... try and keep it together. It's a little dry, but it's pretty good. If it's too wet and sticky, it makes an awful mess. So we just want to... I suppose you could pack this down with a roller if you had one, like if you had a rolling pin or a bottle or something, if you had a flat piece to roll it onto. But, what? Geez, that smoke. We're just going to wrap this around like this. And then just kind of squeeze it on there. That's all it takes. Just like that. Try and get it so that it's going to pinch it together. Now what I've done with this is, just on this individual bag, not the whole mothership version, is that I've put a tiny bit of, in this particular case, a tiny little bit, see my hands aren't even all that bad, of Italian seasoning in it, just to make a little bit more flavor on the bread. But you could very easily, if you wanted to use this as a breakfast thing, at that time of the morning, for example, you could make it the same way, and then when you're ready to put it together, sprinkle some cinnamon and sugar on it or something, and make it more of a breakfast type treat. Sometimes what I'll also do for an actual meal, well, I'll pack it flat like this, as flat as I can and reasonably thin, fill it with the stuffing, whatever it might be. It could be a pizza style well, that smoke is awful. A pizza style stuffing or whatever it is you like, and then just fold it together, crimp it down like a little pie, and use it that way, or in a frying pan even, fry it, whatever you want. There's so much versatility here, so many flavors you can add to this. And you know, here's 6 cups roughly, except for what I took out for that. This 6 cups would make quite a few of those. There's probably slightly less than a cup of this mix in there. So there are the 7 or 8 servings of this. Now, you know, as I said, if you flattened it out into a sort of a pita type thing and had something good to stuff in it, anything that you like, whether it's meat or chili or whatever, you could make yourself quite a good number of meals, enough to give you one good meal a day for 7 or 8 days. So if you had this and something else, you know, for other meals in the day, you could really get going. It's starting to snow again here a bit. I don't think you can see it on camera because there's not much to it, just tiny little flakes, but it's trying. You just keep rotating it, keep it kind of getting golden brown like that. You can even hold it in your hand if you wanted to, but depending on how thick it is on the stick or on the pan or whatever you're using, it can take anywhere up to 20 minutes, possibly even a bit more. If I was going to make sort of a pita type thing out of it, as I was mentioning earlier, and stuff it with something, I would have the stuffing pre-cooked. Get a frying pan going, cook your meat, cook your onions, whatever your fill is going to be. Get that properly cooked, and then put it inside the pita and just cook up the bread for about 15 or 20 minutes. And that ensures that you've got the innards, the filling safely cooked, and the outside just nicely golden brown. You don't want to burn it trying to get the inside done. But as I said, this can be anything from a breakfast food. You could make a pita with eggs and so on in it. I like to have breakfast burritos sometimes. So, you know, the sky's the limit. I don't, as I mentioned, pre-mix the entire batch, the mother load, so to speak, because, you know, there are, as I said, probably 8 servings, 10 servings in there, and I certainly don't want the same thing every single time. So when you dish out your half a cup or whatever it's going to be, this is a cup. And the reason I did this is because I have 3 buddies here, 3 furry friends, who I'm quite certain are going to want to partake in a bit of this when the time comes. So I had to make enough for the rest of the crew. Speaking of which, there's one right there. That's 140 pounds worth of crew. just by himself, and I'm sure he's going to want to have something to do with this when it's possible. See, he's ignoring me right now. He's stubborn that way. But when this is cooked and ready to go, that will certainly change really fast. Good boy. You want some? You hungry? You want a piece? You had your breakfast. Oh. Nice. Yuck. Yuck. There's a cow moose across the pond here. Right in those trees over there. I can't see her now. I had walked away from where the camera's sitting just a few yards, and you know, some of these shots happen quick. But I can hear her in there. That was pretty cool. I think our bannock is just about done. So we'll get a close up here. You can see how nice and golden it's looking. Nice golden color. It's like that. I've just been rotating it every few minutes. Just keep an eye on it. You don't have to watch it every minute, but just keep an eye on it. Keep the smoke out of your eyes. Oh yeah. Look at that. Oh yeah. Now, one thing I did do, which makes it a little tougher to work with, is that I used about 50% whole grain flour. You can use any kind of flour you want. You can use, I like to use unbleached flour, but I prefer to have a little bit more nutritional value in it. So it gets a darker color and a little heavier texture, but that looks pretty darn yummy right there. And it's beautifully cooked, and the dogs and I are going to share some of this. It's a little bit warm. We'll give it a minute, and then we'll give it a minute, and then we'll share some and we'll see how it tastes. Let's break it open and see what it looks like. Actually, that's not bad. That looks pretty good. Oh man, you can really smell that. And I only put, and I mean a pinch, just literally with my fingers, of the Italian seasoning in there. And look at that here. I'll bring it over here so you can have a smell. Take a whiff of that. Isn't that just amazing? Who wants to try this? Sit, sit, sit. Good boy. Tell me what you think. What's your honest opinion? That bad? How about you? You'll eat anything. That's not much of an opinion. Oh man. You sure? Give it a try. Here. Think about it. I could have brought some butter to go with this. That would have been nice. Well, it's cooked perfect. Even in the middle here, look at that. It's just nice and flaky. Sit. Try it and see what you think. Now I want your honest opinion. Is it good or not? Oh man. Oh, you did eat yours. Okay. Well, eat it up. Well, it's hot. It might be. It's not that hot. Well, we're going to sit here and let the last little dregs of fire burn out. Enjoy our snack and enjoy the scenery here for a few more minutes. Let the fire burn down, as I said, and then we'll clean that up. And then I think, with the way this weather's looking, it's getting a bit darker. That snow that comes down comes and goes and comes and goes. It's almost crystally, not really snowflakes, but I wouldn't want it to turn to rain on us. Well, thanks for joining me. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have. If you liked what you saw, please click the like button and the little bell to subscribe, and or hit the subscribe button and the little bell and the like button. And if you know anybody who else might like this, I'd appreciate it if you shared it with them. And you all have a good week, and we'll see you the next time. Okay. Patience, buddy, patience. We should have fried up some bacon, shouldn't we? Oh, this with some bacon? Mmm. That would have been yummy. Tidy up after yourself. It's the only way to use it and not lose it.